Hey, welcome to the podcast. This is The Surge Effect, and I'm your host, Mike Surge. This podcast will be talking about anything and everything, life in general to current events and past events, and all things about this beautiful and wonderful world that we live in. And this podcast, well, it'll probably have an effect on you. Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of The Surge Effect. In this episode of The Surge Effect, we're going to be talking about the election last night on November the 5th. Today is November the 6th, and what transpired and all the little offshoots, what came with it from the election. So before we get started, I always talk about sponsors. My first sponsor is Love My Legs Owen Sound Grey Bruce. Click on the link below and head on over their Facebook page and see all the different leggings that they have to offer. And they're the only lifetime guarantee in the business. Number two is He Shirts, She Shirts. Head on over to their webpage and Facebook page. Links below. They are more than just another t-shirt company. They have all different kinds of offerings. He-shirts, she-shirts, plus. All right. And I also like to mention two other things. I always mention my BCAAs, which is my branched chain amino acids. Click on the link below. Head on over to Amazon and grab yours today. It's great for dehydration. Keeps your body hydrated and fueled up. Number two is my Rodecaster Pro 2 soundboard. I always throw it in there because it's an awesome board. I love it, and it helps me do the things I want to do, which is podcasting. So, with that being said, let's get into today's podcast. All right. So, unless you've been basically living under a rock and you haven't really heard too much of what's going on today in the news cycle, this is, of course, President-elect Trump. That's what happened last night, and I actually saw this little clip here, and this was kind of cute, so I thought I'd play it for you. Is that funny or what? Anyway, before we get into more of these little pictures I'm going to show you, the slide basically of the numbers that occurred for Trump last night. This was last night, and they're still counting them. Of course, he's got 277, Harris 226. They are still counting because they figure he'll be well over 300. And like I said, this is November 6th, and this happened last night. They also they took the Senate last night as well in the States, and they also took the House. So the way the numbers sit right now, they have the Senate and they have the House, as well as Trump won the Electoral College votes, as well as the popular vote. He got like 6 million people over and above the numbers. Now, with that being said, with the mainstream media, of course, all these polls were showing up everywhere, and everyone's going, why is it that the numbers with these polls are so close? I just don't understand it. Well, that's because the mainstream media steadily pushed these out. This was from CBS, a CBS poll. Look at how close this was. This was back in August, but they were pumping these out right up towards the election. Here's another one here from the New York Times, 47-47 with a minus point or plus 3 points. It's just ridiculous. Here's the New York Times, same thing. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen these, and you've all probably said to yourself, what the hell is going on here? Like, what if you've watched any of Kamala Harris's stuff and Trump stuff and what they've been doing and how they answer questions and stuff? Like, there's another one, 48-48. Meanwhile, he literally crushed her in the numbers, in the number games. There's another one here, 49-49, Emerson College poll. It's crazy, right, when you think of it. And, of course, Trump became the president-elect number 47. I'm going to play this video. This is, everyone's all, freaked out about Trump and he's going to be this and he's going to be that. He was already president for 4 years and he wasn't any of the things that they said he was going to be. I don't trust the mainstream media. That's why people that are doing podcasts are cutting edge. They get their information from the internet. They filter through the bullshit and they try to give you information that you've probably seen before, you haven't seen before. But hey, if you already got your mind made up with information that you already know, it is what it is. You either want to absorb and learn new information or you don't. That's totally up to yourself. But basically, here's a little bit of Trump's acceptance speech. I'm not going to play it all because it's about 25 minutes long, but I will play just a couple of minutes of it. It gives you a little bit of an idea of what he's going to do. Here we go.
Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? But it's a political victory that our country has never seen before, nothing like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day, I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. And in addition to having won the battleground states of North Carolina, I love these places, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, we are now winning in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, which would result in us carrying at least 315 electoral votes. But it's much easier doing what the networks did or whoever called it, because there was no other path. There was no other path to victory. We also have won the popular vote. That was great. Very proud of that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And, winning the popular vote was very nice, I will tell you. It's a great feeling of love. We have a great feeling of love in this very large room with unbelievable people standing by my side. These people have been incredible. They've made the journey with me, and we're going to make you very happy. We're going to make you very proud of your vote. I hope that you're going to be looking back someday and say that was one of the truly important moments of my life when I voted for this group of people beyond the president, this group of great people. America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate. Wow, that's good. And the Senate races in Montana, Nevada, Texas, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, were all won by the MAGA movement. They helped so much. And in those cases, every one of them, we worked with the senators. They were tough races. And I mean, the number of victories in the Senate was absolutely incredible. And we did tele-rallies. We did tele-rallies with each one of them. And sometimes we did 2 or 3 and it was amazing to look at all of those victories. Nobody expected that, nobody. So I just wanted to thank you very much for that. And you have some great senators and some great new senators. And it also looks like we'll be keeping control of the House of Representatives. And I want to thank Mike Johnson. I think he's doing a terrific job. Terrific job. I want to also thank my beautiful wife, Melania, First Lady. Who has the #1 best-selling book in the country. Can you believe that? Oh, no, she's done a great job. Works very hard to help people. So I just want to thank her. But I want to thank my whole family, my amazing children, and they are amazing.
He's just doing, of course, he's just doing a little thank job there, and he calls up a few people. Of course, JD Vance. I'm just going to fast forward it just a second. JD goes, he's going to say a few words.
Well, Mr. President, I appreciate you allowing me to join you on this incredible journey. I thank you for the trust that you placed in me. And I think that we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America. And under President Trump's leadership, we're never going to stop fighting for you, for your dreams, for the future of your children. And after the greatest political comeback in American history, we're going to lead the greatest economic comeback in American history under Donald Trump's leadership.
Wow, it sounds like they're just tyrannical, right? Don't they just sound like they're almost like fascist, socialists, almost like Hitler, eh? No, not even close. They're going to do stuff for the citizens of America. That's what they're going to do. So I'm just going to fast forward this video just a little bit farther along here. He just invites a few people up, like I said. Here he invites Dana White from, he's the UFC president, if you watch the UFC.
Nobody deserves this more than him, and nobody deserves this more than his family does. This is what happens when the machine comes after you. What you've seen over the last several years, this is what it looks like. Couldn't stop him. He keeps going forward. He doesn't quit. He's the most resilient, hard-working man I've ever met in my life. His family are incredible people. This is karma, ladies and gentlemen. He deserves this. They deserve it as a family. I want to thank some people real quick. I want to thank the Nelk boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, Bustin' with the Boys, and last but not least, the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan. And thank you, America. Thank you. Have a good night.
So there's Dana White, of course. Dana White's a no-nonsense, no bullshit kind of guy. If you ever listen to any of his conferences after a fight and stuff, he's just He's a straight shooter, and he is no nonsense. So I just kind of sped things up a little bit there for you. So that was Trump basically thanking everyone last night at his acceptance speech, and this is what Kamala did.
Good evening, Howard. Good evening, HU. I want to say good evening to all of the Harris campaign, the campaign family. Thank you for all that you have done. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing in the promise of America. We still have votes to count. We still have states that have not been called yet. We will continue overnight to fight to make sure that every vote is counted, that every voice has spoken. So you won't hear from the Vice President tonight, but you will hear from her tomorrow. She will be back here.
So there you go. So that's Kamala's person there, chairman or whatever he is, coming out and basically talking for her, where she should have came out and spoke for herself. That's just my personal opinion. I believe she should have come out and said something to all those people that supported her through all this, the whole spiel, right? But she chose not to, which I think is, personally, I think it's kind of shitty. But hey, you have your opinion, I have mine. Anyway, I'm sure you probably know that, the lefties, they're not happy. So the lefties, I'm going to play a little bit of stuff here from some of them, and it's like it's scripted. That's why the media, I don't trust mainstream media, because mainstream media feeds you information. So you eat what you're fed by these people, whether it's CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all the mainstream, they're all the same. So here we go.
Democrats fail, it might be the end of American bureaucracy.
Our bureaucracy really is in fundamental peril.
The foundations of American bureaucracy under attack.
They want to destroy our bureaucracy.
We are a bureaucracy in danger.
We're watching an election where people are on the ballot openly advocating the end of bureaucracy.
That's what Republicans are doing, attacking bureaucracy, attempting to destroy bureaucracy, and they're doing it with glee.
This is the end of bureaucracy in America.
When will America stop sleepwalking towards the end of bureaucracy?
Right. It's Democrats versus, as Bill Kristol says, the end of bureaucracy.
We are essentially, as Neil put it, one vote away from sort of the end of bureaucracy as we know it.
Isn't that something? Mainstream media, it's like the same narrative over and over and over again. They keep saying the same thing. So here's Morning Joe here. Listen to this cat go off about stuff. He actually, I'm going to show you this other one first. Before I play this one here, I'm going to play, I'm going to play this one here first. No, I'm going to play this other one first. Sorry. So this is Joe Scarborough from Morning Joe. He just goes off on a tangent here. So listen to what he says here.
We still have an electorate, 70 million plus, that will be voting for a man who said he was going to assassinate for treason the chairman of the Joint Chiefs because he didn't support him on January the 6th, who said just in the recent days he was going to execute Liz Cheney with
that was a lie as well.
The firing squad, 9 guns pointed and shooting at her face. A man who has said that he was going to shut down CBS because he didn't like how they edited an interview.
Actually, he didn't. Not what they edited an interview. They literally changed everything. They cut out a chunk and put another chunk in, and they edited the interview with Kamala Harris to the point where it was almost unrecognizable, but they lied to the American people about that interview. So I'm going to stop right there with this guy because he just continually tells lies. So this is another one, same dude.
I just say, Rev, really.
Listen to what he says here about the Hispanics.
Really quickly, too. Democrats need to be mature, and they need to be honest. And they need to say, yes, there's misogyny. But it's not just misogyny from white men. Mm-hmm. It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men, things we've all been talking about, who do not want a woman leading them. Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman as president of the United States. You know, the Democratic Party, I've always found when you're sitting around talking, they love to just sort of balkanize everybody into these separate groups and say, oh, white people don't like women and black people. No, it is time for the Democrats to say, okay, and you and I have talked about this before, a lot of Hispanic voters have problems with black candidates.
Right.
A lot
and
of,
with other Hispanics. You got some that don't like each other. And some of the most misogynist things I've heard going on this Get Out the Vote tour came from black men. I mean, misogynist things. So
Wow, it's like the race card, eh? They just steadily throw out the race card. It's kind of crazy when you think of it, right? Because that's all they got, race card. But that Morning Joe, Joe Scarborough, that guy is like, boom. He is out there. So this is how Elon Musk is going to, we was talking to Joe Rogan the other day about countering misinformation. And this is a great idea. And whether you agree with it or not, put your comments below. Let me know what you think.
Community notes.
Yes, and community notes.
Community notes
awesome.
is the best.
It's awesome.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Because everybody gets checked.
Yes, including me.
Yeah.
And with community notes, all the software is open source and all the data is open source. So you can recreate any given note independently.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
It's total, absolute transparency in every way. You know, sometimes I get asked like, "Oh, Elon, can you remove a note?" You know, mostly by the left, but sometimes by the right. I'm like, I don't even remove notes on my own account. Nothing. And by the way, everything is totally open. So if I did that, it would stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
Immediately. Like it's not going to be subtle.
That is the best counter to misinformation.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Like let everybody look at it and say, okay, here's what the actual facts say.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The counter to misinformation is better information.
Not just that, but
the counter to misinformation is better information. So there Elon and Joe, or they're talking about Twitter and about the community notes and how they keep people honest in regards to misinformation and how people conduct themselves on Twitter when they say certain things and they should or should not be saying. So here is the other night before the election. This was Oprah Winfrey saying her little piece at a rally. Here, listen to what she has to say.
The opportunity to ever cast a ballot again. Possible.
Listen to what she says.
If we don't show up tomorrow, it is entirely possible that we will not have the opportunity to ever cast a ballot again. And let me be very clear. If you do not make sure that the people in your life can get to the polls.
So she's basically saying if Republicans win, that you will never have an opportunity basically to vote again. Why would she say that? Why don't they say that about Gavin Newsom? Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, they literally passed a law that you do not have to have voter ID. Now think about that. Now why would you not have to have voter ID to go and vote in an election other than to cheat? It's the only way. Like anybody and their brother can go and just no ID whatsoever and just go in and vote. It's a scam. That's a scam. That's a way to cheat. And that's what basically she's saying, right? Is that she's thinking the Republicans are going to do something like Gavin Newsom. But here is Trump's response to Oprah. And remember, I think Trump was on one of her last shows she ever did. And they were friends. She wanted to run as his vice president because she even sent him a letter saying so. But anyway, here's his response to what she said the day before.
Well, I think it's ridiculous. You know, Oprah, I was on her last show or one of her last shows, and they picked the biggest people and all of that and made a big deal. And I'm disappointed. I think Oprah's become a major divider in our country. And I think, frankly, she should be ashamed of herself. And you know who else should be ashamed? Fox. Because I've seen Oprah on Fox about 50 times making the same statement. And I think it's a disgrace what Fox does, because everyone thinks Fox is so pro-Trump. They're not pro-Trump at all. They've put Oprah on all morning long. That's all I see is Oprah. And, I do Oprah very well. She's been in Mar-a-Lago many times. Roger King had his funeral. That's the head of King World, which was Oprah's mentor. And Oprah chose the location. She said, Mar-a-Lago is the most beautiful place. Would it be possible to have Roger's funeral at Mar-a-Lago in the ballroom? We did it. The only time I've ever had a funeral there. And I think Oprah should be ashamed of herself to say that. She should be ashamed. She knows me. She wanted to run with me as a vice president. She was going to be the vice president. She wrote me a letter. It's in the book. And now she goes to make statements like that. She's a divider. And Barack Hussein Obama is a divider, too.
So there you go. There's Trump calling a spade a spade. People don't like it because he's very upfront and he says stuff that other people don't like. They're in power. And he's not from the old boys club, so he's not one of them. And they do not like this guy. They do not like him. So here's another question from a reporter that was just stupid as far as I'm concerned. And here's Trump's answer, because it's already started. This was like literally yesterday. This is crazy.
I don't have to tell them that. I don't have to tell them that there'll be no violence. Of course there'll be no violence. My supporters are not violent people. I don't have to tell them that. And I certainly don't want any violence, but I certainly don't have to tell. These are great people. These are people that believe in no violence. Unlike your question, you believe in violence. Go ahead.
See, I don't know if you heard that question or not, but the reporter basically said, can you, basically tell that your people there won't be any violence the day of the inauguration? He's like, of course there won't be any violence. Like, why are they doing stuff like that? Why are they already planting seeds for crazy people to go do crazy shit? It's insane. So anyway, here is a guy by the name of Scott Jennings. He's a senior political commentator, and he was on CNN. And this is why he believes Trump won. Have a listen to this. This is why he believes Trump won.
This is a mandate. He's won the national popular vote for the first time for a Republican, for the first time since 2004. This is a big deal. This isn't backing into the office. This is a mandate to do what you said you were going to do. Get the economy working again for regular working class Americans, fix immigration, try to get crime under control, try to reduce the chaos in the world. This is a mandate from the American people to do that. I think I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not Nazis. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids, and they feel like they have been told to just shut up when they have complained about the things that are hurting them in their own lives. I also feel like this election, as we sit here and pour over this tonight, is something of an indictment of the political information complex. I mean, we've been sitting around here for the last couple of weeks, and the story that was portrayed was not true. I mean, we were told Puerto Rico was going to change the election. Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley voters, women lying to their husbands. Before that, it was Tim Walz and the camo hats. Night after night after night, we were told all these things and gimmicks were going to somehow push Harris over the line, and we were just ignoring the fundamentals. Inflation, people feeling like that they were barely able to tread water at best. That was the fundamentals of the election. And so I think that both parties should always look at the results of an election and figure out what went right and what went wrong. But I think for all of us who cover elections and talk about elections and do this on a day-to-day basis, we have to figure out how to understand, talk to, and listen to the half of the country that rose up tonight and said, we've had enough.
And that is why he won the election. That is right from the CNN commentator talking about it. So let's hear what Sonny had to say from The View. This is from Benny Johnson. He posted this. This is kind of short and sweet, but we'll play this real fast here. It's about 20 seconds long.
I'm surprised at the result, but I'm not surprised. As a woman of color, I was so hopeful that a mixed race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president of this country. And I think that it had nothing to do with policy. I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment in this country.
Well, I think it...
I'm surprised at the result.
She always goes to, she always turns towards racism and stuff. I don't know why she does. She just does. So here's one from the Globe and Mail. It says Trump's election is a crisis like no other, not only for the U.S., but for the world. This is from the Globe and Mail. This is posted by the Pleb. I just don't understand why these people post this stuff and put this stuff up. Like, what would make this guy say that? Like, when Trump was in power for 4 years, wasn't a war. First time in the history of the United States of America, 4 years, no war on his watch. And all of a sudden now this guy, like I said, they call him every name, right? They call him Hitler, and he's going to be doing all this stuff when he gets into office. It's quite crazy, right? It's quite insane when you think of it. So anyway. Let's hear somebody else from The View here. This is, of course, Whoopi, Whoopi Goldberg. So here you go. Hear what she has to say.
How you feel? So, how you feel? I'll start. Yeah, go ahead. My takeaway is that the system works. We live in a democracy. People spoke. This is what people wanted. I vehemently disagree with the decision that Americans made. But I feel very, very hopeful that we have a democratic system in this country. We should value it. We should love it. We should protest if the situation arises that we need to protest, which I'm sure it will. And I've been through this before with Nixon. It's been very difficult. But boy, oh boy, do we have a country if we can keep it.
Yeah.
So there was, of course, Whoopi and Joy Behar talking a little bit about Trump winning. So here's Karina Gould. She is an MP here in Canada. She's in the cabinet, Trudeau's cabinet. This is what she had to say. Listen to this.
Yeah, look.
Just in English on your concerns about women's rights in the U.S. election.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to speak about the U.S. election right now, but what I will say is we've already seen women's rights move backwards in the United States. There are many states in the United States that have taken away a woman's right to choose, taken away a woman's right to access health care and her right to an abortion, and we've seen the shocking consequences of that.
I get a kick out of these politicians, especially people like Karina there, and she goes on about women's rights. Meanwhile, in Canada, women had zero rights when it came to getting the vaccine. Zero. They were told to take it or they'd be a second-class citizen. So they had zero right to choose about what goes in their body. This is ridiculous nonsense. It's political. It's just political, narrative that they're throwing out because it's like it looks good for them. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It just pisses me off listening to this nonsense because that that's just political. It's political rhetoric. It's political rhetoric. So here's what Jagmeet Singh, of course, he's our NDP socialist up here in Canada. He's the one that's been basically in bed with the Liberals and the Bloc, keeping the Liberals in power. Voted not to have a vote of non-confidence, voted not to have it in our House not too long ago. So here's what he had to say.
I think a lot of folks woke up today and woke up really worried, really afraid, felt crushed. And I want you to know that now is a time for us to come together to defend Canadian interests. I know that the results of Trump, right now what it looks like Trump's election, is going to have serious impacts on Canadians. So we need to come together, all parties, all leaders, and put Canadian interests first. We have to protect Canadian jobs. We have to be prepared for the impacts of potential tariffs and what that would mean for our economy, for manufacturing, for jobs in Canada. We need to be very united to say, whatever our differences are when it comes to Canadian interests and Canadian jobs, we're all going to work together to defend Canada, to defend Canadian jobs.
It's just hilarious. Listen to this guy talk about defending Canada and our jobs. The reason why he's basically been backing Trudeau and the Liberals and the Bloc is because he wants his pension. He wants his pension. That's what he wants, just like the rest of them. And to prove a point, here is a video. This is from Franco Terrazzano. This guy looks after the interests of Canadian taxpayers' money. And he was at a committee the other day, and this is what he had to say. Listen to Franco.
My name is Franco Terrazzano. I'm with the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, and I'm here to give a voice to hundreds of thousands of Canadians who don't want you to delay the next election and stick taxpayers with the bill for millions in pensions for members of parliament. The government's proposal to delay the election by 1 week would give taxpayer-funded pensions to up to 80 MPs who would otherwise not qualify. That's up to $120 million in pensions for those politicians. Some of those politicians will have served for barely 6 years and receive more than $2 million in pensions. 6 years, $2 million in taxpayer-funded pensions. There are two simple things the government could do to avoid sticking ordinary Canadians with a huge bill for taxpayer-funded pensions for dozens of politicians who don't deserve them. Number one, make the election earlier. There are about 350 days between now and the next scheduled election of October 20th, 2025. I have confidence that at least one of the 336 members of Parliament and 400,000 federal government bureaucrats can figure out one of those 350 days to hold the election. Number two, if somehow not a single MP or bureaucrat can figure out one of the 350 days between now and next October, then change the pension eligibility date so it's after the next election. Making taxpayers pay tens of millions of dollars so dozens of extra politicians can take a pension is unacceptable.
So there you go. So you're probably uninformed about that, but there's Franco Terrazzano. Like I said, you can go and check him out on Twitter. And he is trying to do his best to look after our money. So what we need, of course, is this. We need a vote of a no confidence in the Prime Minister and their government. And if that occurs, then, hey, maybe the Canadians can do an upset as well and have this guy, Mr. Pierre Poilievre, be our next Prime Minister of this great nation. Pierre Poilievre. Poilievre is his name. As people in the States sometimes get it wrong. It's not Poilievre or anything like that. It's Poilievre. That's his name. Anyway, I'm looking forward to the vote of non-confidence in our House. I'm looking forward to people like Jagmeet Singh there, who just said he wanted to have Canadian interests and look after Canadians. But hey, he's lied before because he said he ripped up the agreement with the Liberals, and he did not rip up the agreement. He actually stuck by them literally within a couple of days and voted not to have a vote of non-confidence. So anyway, with that being said, hope this enlightened you a little bit about the election last night and a little bit about what the lefties are doing and stuff. And it's not over because it's going to be a crazy 4 years, everyone. So buckle up. There's going to be lots of content for sure. I'm going to sign off. Thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. Thanks for sharing any of the videos that I post. It's much appreciated. Helps with the algorithm because I think YouTube sometimes suppresses videos, which kind of sucks. But anyway, I always like to sign off with this thing. If you've seen previous videos of mine, at the end of my video, I always say, people in this world, everyone is going through something. Everyone has something they're dealing with. And life is tough. It's really tough. But what you have to do is keep moving forward. That's right. You got to keep moving forward. You'll be better off for it. All right. Until next time, everyone, thanks again for checking out my podcast. Have yourself a great day. Cheers. This episode sponsored by He Shirts, She Shirts. Go to www.heshirtssheshirts.ca. Just type in the letters TSA, The Surge Effect. When you check out, type in TSA for your coupon and receive 10% off your next purchase. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, everybody.